Exciting stuff. There we go.
Is anyone else joining us? We need to wait for AJ.
AJ will be at some point as well. So I can shoot him a quick message.
Is anyone else joining us? We need to wait.
Have YouTube pulled up? There we go.
Yeah, YouTube is up and we're getting ready to start. Are you guys ready to open up the Zoom line?
Let's do it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, can you make me a co-host real quick?
I already did that.
Now it's working. Got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Go for it.
That. All right. Love you guys joining in. As you guys are joining, please let us know where you're calling in from and how many deals you guys have done so far in the chat. We would love to hear from you. Looks like AJ is joining in as well, but he didn't get the invite to be a panelist. So let me try and go send that to him real quick. See. So as you guys are joining in, please go ahead and type in the chat where you're calling in from and how many deals you've done. And we'll be getting started just momentarily.
All right. Trevor, you're in Carrot HQ, I assume?
I am, man. Carrot HQ, dude. Yep. Need to get you guys out here one of these days.
No kidding. Yeah, I'll be out traveling tomorrow. Unfortunately not your way. We're taking the kids down to the beach. It's more of a trip than a vacation, I'm gonna assume.
Oh, cool. Awesome, dude.
And we'll see how it goes. But yeah, excited.
Well, you missed the heat by a week. We've literally never had it this hot, but it was 113 degrees on Sunday, which is like unheard of. It's a record for here, but it's 75 today, which is perfect.
There you go. Yeah, I have family in Portland, and I know it's been a little crazy. So
crazy. Jason, 8 deals. I like it. Jason Russian.
That's right. I see people are calling in from all over. We've got Michelle from San Antonio working on the 3rd deal. That's awesome. And then we got Lawan from Philadelphia working on the 1st deal. Ingrid from Boston, about 50 flips. So great to have you with us, Ingrid. And then John, Detroit, working on the 1st deal. Chip from Houston, and they've got 15 on the board and 21 closed year to date. It's awesome. And then we've got quite a few other responses as well. So thank you guys for chiming in and welcome to the webinar. So I'm going to get us started. We've obviously partnered up with Carrot. We've got Trevor Mock from Carrot, the CEO and founder, with us tonight. And we're going to talk to you guys about online and offline marketing and what strategy you can use those together to supercharge your marketing and lead generation to help you lead to more deals for less money. So just a couple quick things. DealMachine is what I can speak to. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DealMachine. We got started back in 2017. So we currently serve 10,000 active investors, and I've got a rental portfolio myself that I built with DealMachine and doing a lot of the BRRRR strategy. So I kept those as rentals. And so the story goes for me back in 2017 is I was looking to get my first rental property. I received a lot of the advice that I should go look for rundown houses and do what's called driving for dollars. So I went about that, and I had a software background before I got into real estate, and I found properties. I was writing them down. I ended up missing out on a deal. So I made this really basic tool for myself that would help me in my own investing. And what it did, it would let me pin that house on the map, look up the data that I needed in order to make a decision and reach out to the owner, and then actually like send mail and reach out and get their phone number and reach out. So that's the very basic of what DealMachine does. We also have another plan for helping you generate leads, and we'll talk about that as well. So not just driving for dollars, but list builder as well as real estate data, direct mail, and skip tracing. Trevor, on the other hand, is going to introduce Carrot. I'm sure you guys already know already, but Trevor, let me hand it over to you and give a little background story about how you founded Carrot.
Dude, for sure, man. Yeah. So at a really high level, first of all, dude, I appreciate you inviting me on here too. It's always fun hanging out with you. And it pumps me up when I see the chat box lighting up. And I want you guys to keep on popping the chat box, because that kind of stuff pumps me up. But keep the deals flowing in there. Keep letting us know what you guys are doing, because it fires us up. That's why we're showing up here. That's why it's 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and David and Matt are diving in as well. Yeah. So we're kind of on the other side of the equation where David had mentioned he had went the route of driving for dollars, of offline marketing, of leveraging direct mail, which all that works amazingly well, as you guys and gals know on this call. We saw it kind of from the other perspective, right? We said, okay, where are a lot of people searching actively to sell properties or buy properties? Well, shoot, we're picking up our cell phones more and more every single year. And we started looking at it saying, well, what if we could get in front of the most motivated people, and the people who, aren't going to, if you're cold calling or doing text message marketing, they're not going to call you up and yell at you and ask you how you found their phone number and stuff like that. But there are people who are actively seeking you out saying, hey, I'd like you to buy my house. And it's a completely different interaction. And we saw the trends with the internet. More and more people are using the internet to search for solutions like selling their house, buying a house, finding restaurants, whatever it is. And we came out, this is in 2013, 2014, saying, can we just help people do this better than anyone else? Can we really focus in on performance with a website rather than just having a website look good and be pretty? And that's what we've been doing ever since, is we said, we're going to go down one route and be amazing at it, which is helping you guys and gals create your web presence that are going to attract the most motivated prospects, the highest profit margin deals, usually because they're highly motivated. But then number two, we want to help you guys do it in a way to where your website actually performs way better and you stop losing deals. And that's kind of what we found, especially with a lot of people doing offline, as we'll kind of dive into here, is a lot of people are doing amazing offline marketing, but having deals slip through the cracks every single month because you don't have the right web presence or the right credibility on your website to stand out. So we do that today, and millions of leads have come in, about 70 to 80,000 leads a month that are all inbound leads come in, mostly sellers, and hundreds of millions of dollars of deals every year, every single year come through our system. So pumped to help answer any questions on here and show you guys how to ramp things up.
Thanks, Trevor. So that's a quick overview of DealMachine and Carrot. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you guys 3 different focused pieces of content this evening. And we're going to break for about 10, 15, 20 minutes of Q&A between each one. So Trevor's going to get ready and kick off one of those first planned pieces of content. But I wanted you guys to actually start putting your questions in the chat as we're presenting this, because what we're going to do is bring some of you guys on with video and mic to bring the best questions on and have a conversation about those.
Dude, and that's going to be the most fun part right there, is bringing people on, letting people hop up here, hearing them, seeing them. If you guys can give me the screen sharing capabilities, that will be perfecto. And guys, while I'm able to bring the screen up here, I want you guys to do this, pop through the comments box over there on the side. Let me know, guys and gals, how many of you guys have some sort of a web presence already? Pop in the comments box and say, hey, I'm doing DealMachine and I also have a web presence. Or say, you know what, I'm doing DealMachine and I don't have a web presence yet. Or say, I'm not doing either. That way we can really get a good idea of where everyone is, and we can kind of tailor that content a little bit. So what I'm going to show really quick, and then we're going to bounce over to questions, is everything that we're talking about is coming from data. This isn't theory. This isn't, we started the business yesterday. This isn't, it's not building websites that just look pretty. It's like building websites that perform. And so this is actually a live shot inside of our Google Analytics account for our clients. So as of today, from January 1st, about 242,000 people who filled out a form, and that doesn't include anyone who phone called, who picked up the phone and called in. So you can about double that number right there. It's, you know, north of 400,000 leads. Most of those are sellers. And you can see the part that we're going to focus on the most here, because we're not going to talk today about Google pay-per-click, and we're not going to talk about those things today. You can do that. You know, there's other trainings we can do that. But the biggest part is what we call organic search. And you can see how much higher those leads actually convert than any other type of marketing. And we have some other data too. Why is it that those are higher quality leads, that they convert higher? Because they have better intent. They might be getting a postcard from you guys and gals, and then they're hitting the internet to research you. They're a higher quality lead. They might have just inherited a house or just went through a situation, and they're like, man, I've got to solve this problem. And they're going to Google and they're searching that, and then they're finding someone like our clients, or like many of you on this call, to solve the problem. Okay. And the first kind of concept I want to introduce here, especially for everyone doing DealMachine or any other type of marketing, up here on the right, on the left side, you've got offline marketing, right? And you've got that big old fancy DealMachine icon there. So if you're doing DealMachine and driving around, putting the houses into DealMachine, you're going to drip out that direct mail. What happens next, right? The person gets that direct mail piece. They get that direct mail piece and they look at it, and they might see a phone number on there. They might see your company name on there. They might see a phrase like "sell your house fast in Wilmington" or something. And where we are right now in today's day and age is, yes, you will 100% sure close deals without having a website. But the question that we always ask is, it's not whether you have to have a website to get deals. It's how much money are you losing because you don't have one, or you don't have the right one. Okay. And it's not just having one, it's having the right one. And I'll kind of show you guys here in a second what you can do to make yours work better. But if you're doing bandit signs, if you're doing driving for dollars, cold calling, text message marketing, you know, TV ads, radio ads, referrals, or any online marketing, people are going to pick that up, and they're going to go to Google and say, who the heck is this company? You know, like I want to see who they are, especially if they're getting multiple pieces of mail, or if they're getting multiple people hitting them with direct mail. And so what happens there, guys, is if you then don't, if someone goes to Google, and let's say your company is called Chief Property Solutions, which is one of our employees, Adrian, out of Wilmington, North Carolina. He closes 3 to 5 deals a month, 100% from online. They do have driving for dollars mixed in there as well, actually. So it's almost 100%. But let's say that he's doing some outbound marketing and someone goes to Google. Well, people are going to type in something like this. If the name of his company is on a postcard, or they got a phone call from him, they're going to type something like this. And it's kind of cool because Google actually shows us what people are typing. Google says, man, people are typing Chief Real Estate Solutions reviews. So who are the types of people who are going to search that? It's the people who are wondering, is this company legit and should I work with them? And so I want to ask you guys, I want you to write down on a piece of paper, what's your average profit per deal? Is it 10K? Is it 15? Is it 20K? We're wholesaling houses in Louisville, and we're doing it with a very, very certain way. And we're going to do some education on that soon. Our average profit per deal right now in the 4 deals we've closed in the first 60 days is over $40,000. Now, is that normal? No, but we figured out a niche and it's working well. So if we lost one of those $40,000 deals because someone couldn't find us online, or someone couldn't find out who we are, like this right here, this is our website in Louisville, and they didn't see that we're a credible company, how many of those $40,000 deals are we okay with losing, right? That's the question. And if we have a cheap website, or a website that's set up the wrong way, or no website, which is even worse, how much money are we likely losing when we're out there busting our butts to get these leads, and we're letting all these deals slip through our fingers? So I just want to show this really quick, then I'll toss it back over to you guys, Matt and David. Is you guys might be saying, well, shoot, well, how does it work in actuality? So this is Carter, Carter, 1-800-2sellhomes.com. He's the top home buyer in Oklahoma City, one of the top home buyers in all of Oklahoma, and he has a real estate brokerage. And after he kind of made the switch to not just having a website, he already had a website, to getting the right credibility on the website in the right spots, this is what he sent in. He said, man, we had a dramatic increase in web leads. Guys, it wasn't because he started online marketing. This is all offline marketing, all radio, TV, and direct mail, okay, which includes driving for dollars, all that stuff. And so he said, just by switching the way the website was set up with our model, which you guys can do this outside of Carrot too, we just make it easier, load faster, cheaper, the whole thing. They actually saw a dramatic increase, and this is the key, their lead to close ratio Okay. If you get 100 leads and you close 10 leads into a deal, that's a 10% close ratio. That's 1 in 10 leads closes into a deal, right? If you're doing radio or TV advertising, about 1 in 50 leads closes into a deal. Okay. If you're doing direct mail, the traditional type of direct mail where you buy a big old list and you send out a bunch of stuff, it's about 1 in 40 leads closes into a deal. Okay. If you're doing Deal Machine, it's a lot better than that because it's very, very targeted. If you're doing Google pay-per-click, it's about 1 in 15 to 1 in 20. Usually we're seeing a lot better than that in Louisville. If you're doing search engine optimization, it's 1 in 5 to 1 in 15. So what we're seeing here is with his direct mail and radio and TV advertising, he saw a 20 to 25 to 35% close ratio, which was almost double what it was before after getting the right credibility on his website. So I just want to show this one last thing. Same thing. If you're in Tacoma and you have a postcard and it says something about selling your house, what might someone do then? Or if it says we buy houses in Tacoma, they might go to Google on their cell phone and type up sell my house fast Tacoma. And so then the question is, what do they see here? You can pay for ads up here, which these are a lot of our clients. This right here, the #1 ranking site in Google. That's one of our clients. But then over here, you see this, you see Google reviews, you see this credibility, you see a website. And when you click that website, same thing, it takes to a really high converting, fast loading Carrot site, which helps them close more of those leads into a deal. So they stop losing those leads. So the main concept, y'all, is this, is all of your marketing, all of your offline marketing drives online demand. The question is, are we capturing that demand in the right way, building that credibility so you can close more of those deals and stop losing cash out of your pocket? Back over to you guys and do some Q&A.
Yeah, so I love this visual that you have, Trevor. If you guys have questions about what Trevor just talked about, please ask them now. We're going to get ready to bring our first guest online. But in the meantime, I thought I would share a story. I first realized this back in 2018, I believe it was, when I was, building my rental portfolio. I won a deal, even though I didn't offer the most, because the seller told me they loved this video that I had online that they saw. I had no idea what the video was. It wasn't intentionally online, but it was from college. My fraternity had done a video and I was talking about the importance of leadership training, and the seller really loved what I had to say. And his wife wanted to give the deal to me instead of like this other investor who had a lot of properties. And I was like, wow, how powerful is it to have something great for them to find online? And now that I knew that, then, I could take more control over that. So that's, the website is definitely how you take more control over that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And I saw some good comments in here. There's, I'm going to say this name wrong probably, but Gaiasi, McElroy, I think 20K per deal should be your expectations, but 10, 15K is good. Jared says, is a Facebook business page considered a website? Let me answer that one really quick, and then we'll toss out. And there's also Shola says, I've Carrot with no success. I can totally show you guys exactly, Shola. We can point out what your next steps can be. Like we said, over 70,000 leads come through our system every single month, hundreds of millions of deals closed, and we can walk you through what are the missing steps that you're taking. But the Facebook business page one, so let me bring this back up. Okay. So this screen right here, yes, Facebook can be a great resource for you to build that credibility. And that's what we're talking about as it relates to amplifying the results of your offline marketing. Okay. So if we're just talking about that part of it, using I call it an authority hub. I don't call them websites anymore, because a website by itself, anyone can launch a website. A website can be launched for free with Wix or Weebly or Squarespace. Anybody can launch a website. Okay. A website, it's kind of the same as saying a Deal Machine postcard is a piece of paper, right? It's like, okay, yes, it's a piece of paper, but it's got the right words on it. It's got the right messaging on it. It's got the right picture in the right spots. It goes out at the right time. Like, there's so many things about that Deal Machine postcard that strategically have been set up to make it work. And so if we say a website is a website, it's similar to a piece of paper as a Deal Machine postcard, which we all know that that's not true. And so what I mean by an authority hub is you want that website to not just be online and say, I can buy your house and here's a form and maybe here's a glamour shot picture of me. You want that website to actually show, hey guys, here's what we do. And I'll show you some examples. Here's what we do. Here's why you should work with us. Here's the credibility. Here's some content to show you our authority to build up the trust. Here's some reviews. And I can show you guys how to do that even if you don't have any deals. But if we look at this on that question there, Jared, you can see here, if you Google Chief Property Solutions, which is what people would Google if they got his direct mail or they learned about him, the number one thing is you see his Google reviews up here. So that's one of the first things I would do, which you don't need a website for that, but it makes it more effective because then you can get them off of Google onto your website, just like he's got done here, driving to his Carrot site. But this is a big, big, big credibility booster. So now down here, you have his website. Okay. So this is the same website that pulls about 3 to 5 deals a month out for him every single month. And when someone lands here, they can be fully wrapped into his experience. Okay. When you're on Facebook over here, you can see his Facebook page does pop up here. So that is an important thing, I believe, to have a Facebook page that has good credibility on there. But the problem is once you get onto Facebook, you can see he's dialed his in really well. He's got his good branding. He's got his content on here, testimonials on here. He uses the automated content marketing system on our platform that automatically posts this content for him. But the problem is once you're on Facebook, that's where distraction kicks in. You know, if that is your quote unquote website and that person sees a little notification up here from Sally, or just like you guys saw from there, Alex Gonzalez, one of our customers, pinged me. Oh shoot, I'm now not looking at Adrian's thing. I'm zoning in on Alex Gonzalez. And so as soon as your quote unquote website is your Facebook page, you need to have it, but don't make that your own thing because that cannot be your authority hub. Your authority hub needs to be something that you fully control the content of and the experience of, and there isn't the distraction of notifications and all that kind of stuff.
That was a great display of distractions popping up on your
Wasn't it? Like right when I got on there.
Matt, do we have any more questions or should we go on to the next part?
Yeah, we have one other question. Derek Young, if you'd like to come on stage, I can pull you up here to talk. If not, I can just read off here. But I love this question around, he said, hey, how can we put everything together so that there's a flow and nothing gets lost? So maybe talk a little bit about understanding that lead pipeline and making sure that you don't lose a lead.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess for extra context there, and we're talking, so nothing gets lost once a lead comes in. Is that what he's mentioning for follow-up, or? I'm
assuming so. Okay. Yeah. And I'll monitor chat as well from here. So again, anybody who wants to jump and ask questions, or even I know Trevor offered to take a look at your Carrot account and kind of give you tips on best practices there too. Feel free to jump in with that as well. But.
Yep, for sure. I love it. Yeah. So the biggest thing for me, and let me see, I might be able to actually pull up another drawing or something like that. But the biggest thing for me is this on that question. So you have the marketing side of things over here, right? So on the left side, you have what are you doing to actually get people there? And so there's definitely leverage points there where, can we make the direct mail piece more effective? Can we make the ad more effective? That's the first dropping off point before they actually even become a lead for us, is where are we under optimized and overspending to attract the right people? And so I'm not going to focus on that a lot. We totally can focus on that. How do you make your ads better? How do you make your text messages, cold calls, all that kind of stuff better? What I'm going to talk about though is once a person comes on the website, the first thing that I would do is, especially with any web lead, but I think it applies also to the direct mail leads, not quite to so much of an extent, but with the web lead, if someone's going online to do a Google search, like I sell my house fast, Tacoma or whatever, they're actively in the act of searching. Okay. They're ready to take action on something. And so this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is, even if they are getting leads from the online side, if it's Google organic, you drop the DealMachine postcard, they pick it up, they do a Google search now for your company name. They're actively in search mode now. You need to pick up the phone fast. Okay. Within 5 minutes on the web leads. And I'm talking, you guys might be thinking like 5 minutes, how am I going to do that? Well, those leads tend to be the highest motivated. They tend to be the highest converting leads. So you actually need far fewer calls if the person comes online and submits a web lead for you versus traditional direct mail or traditional cold calling. And so those ones are hot. And so if people are, number one, that's the first drop off point when a lead comes in, is follow up with that lead immediately. If it's a web lead, under 5 minutes. I'll give you a couple examples. So we just closed 2 big deals in Louisville, and we launched a Carrot site. We dialed in the Carrot site. We followed the model that we teach. We launched a Google pay-per-click campaign because I'm not their local in that market. And I know Bo does do driving for dollars in that market. He's already doing deals. So he's my partner in that market. I'm doing the online marketing in that market. And we basically pulled in about 7 leads in the first month. It wasn't a lot, right? Not a lot of leads. But of those 7 leads, we closed 3 deals, which is a crazy, crazy close ratio. Bo's a hustler. He's got 10 years of experience, and we know how to follow up on these leads. He called every single one of those leads within 3 minutes of them submitting the step 2 form submit on the Carrot website. So the person is physically on the website still. And so when they're physically on the website, you can control the conversation now. And a lot of people are looking to get more leads. And we're saying, yeah, more leads is great. But what if you just actually what if you use those leads you're already getting better? What if you made those leads more effective by following up faster? So the next thing is this, where things can fall through the cracks, is immediate follow-up, first of all. And many of you guys and gals probably aren't going to want to hear this because it's work, but this is also where DealMachine comes in and helps to really pick up some of the work, is to close those 3 deals. And this isn't joking, guys. I'm not joking on this number. The first deal, which made us 56 grand. So this wasn't a small deal, $56,000 on a wholesale deal. We didn't flip it. It was a double close, bought it Monday, sold it to a hedge fund that same day, 56 grand in profit. He followed up with that seller over a 3-week period, 87 times. Okay. 87 times, y'all. And now you guys might be looking at it and go, well, shoot, I followed up with the person 6 times. I don't know why I lost the deal. These leads are junk. Like, no one's serious. Well, if we would have followed up 6 times in that lead, what would have happened is we would have lost all 3 of those deals. We wouldn't have got a deal in those first 7 leads. Okay. And we would be complaining about the quality of the leads. And it's not the quality. It's the timing for that person. The person's in some sort of pain. They're in some sort of a problem. And here's the thing is they got themselves into that situation, or they're in the situation usually because they aren't in a spot where they're making good decisions. Right. And that's something that we have to really think about, is we're here to help people who are showing a pattern usually of not making good decisions unless they inherited the property. Right. If they inherited the property, now they're just like, I just need to do something with this. But if it's a really distressed situation, we have to be in front of them all the time, because if they're behind on payments, if the house is trashed, they've probably been used to burying their head in the sand. And so when they pick up the phone and call you or submit a web form, they're probably going to be avoiding really actually facing that problem, facing that solution. So we have to follow up with them a lot. So how can you do that? We were physically texting them. You can put some automation in place. You can have the DealMachine postcards continue to drip postcards to those prospects as well. You can retarget those people over on Facebook. So you're showing them testimonials and testimonial videos in front of them to capture them back. But I think the biggest thing is do one thing at a time. And if you had to do one thing and one thing only, call those people immediately. And then in a really, really nice way, but serving them well, be relentless until they say no, because they need the help. And if you're not going to help them, someone might not be able to help them in time.
Yeah, that's a really good point about they reached out 87 times. That's crazy.
It was 87 times, man. It was 50 something text messages and 30 something phone calls. And when Bo told me that, I'm like, dude, that's crazy. How many people do you have calling? And you guys are probably thinking he's got a big team. Guys, Bo's a one-man show. Bo's a one-man show, and he nets $2 million a year in real estate. Now, did he start doing that? Nope, he didn't. He's been doing it for 6 or 7 years, and he's been hustling and just putting in and he's got great processes in place, but he's relentless. So I don't want to say that's going to be applicable to everyone. So you got to put in the work, but the follow-up is going to be key in the market today.
Got it. So I didn't realize Bo was a one-man show either. It's quite a bit of revenue for one guy.
Dude, he's a one-man show. Most of his deals come from referrals from other investors who can't close the deals. And so he comes at it and does it. And he's got all of his contractors and partners that do stuff, but one-man show, dude, is crazy.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like we've got a guest joining us, Gayazi. Did I pronounce your name right?
Can you hear us hopefully?
Okay, while Gaizi's coming on, Matt, if there's somebody else, you can bring them on. But what's this, Trevor? Just so you pulled this up.
Yeah, for sure. So while the guest is coming on here, I just want to kind of bring up the other side of it as well. So especially if you guys are using DealMachine or any system to get deals, one thing that Bo has done, which has helped him close his deals really fast, is right now the hedge funds in the markets are buying up a lot of properties. That's how we're able to, we're paying more per deal than most of our competitors are willing to pay. And the hedge funds are buying the properties for prices that aren't normal. Because the metrics right now in the market, we think for the next 1 to 2 years are going to be pretty lopsided because the hedge funds have billions of dollars that they're looking to spend in picking up properties in these middle type markets, like where you are, David, and some other markets. The reason I'm bringing this up is a spot that we've got all the hedge fund buyers is they have these people on their team that are literally going to Google and typing up wholesale properties for sale, discount properties for sale. And so Bo launched his cash buyer website, which he didn't even modify it a lot. He didn't swap out the photo. That's the default photo. You can swap it out. He put a little video in there just talking about who he is and what he does. He uses our automated content. So he's not even writing this content. Our system's automating and creating it for him. And you can see these leads coming in. He started to rank pretty well in that market for phrases around it. And then these are leads that come in. And, Cody right here, 19 hours ago, looking to hold houses 2 days ago. These are all buyer leads that are coming in 100% for free, not paying anything for them. And that's one of the ways we're selling these properties really, really fast.
Awesome. I love seeing inside of an actual live account.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gaizi, am I saying your name right? Good to see you. I can see you, and I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see you, man, but can't hear any audio.
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. There he is. What's up, dude?
Here. What's going on? How everybody doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
What was your question? Would you mind re-asking it?
Oh yeah. I was wondering about the houses that may be for sale, like they might be owned by a LLC company. I was wondering, can you partner with those companies on deals, or is that possible, or is that just a no-go?
What do you mean by partnering?
I mean, they're owned by I guess another entity, another party or company. So I mean, they're not owned by the owner himself, but I guess they're owned by the company. So
Great question. So if you could buy a property that is owned by an LLC, you could market to that property. They could submit through your Carrot website that they're interested in selling their property. So you definitely could, buy that deal or wholesale that deal, just like you could if somebody actually owns it. Was that the question that you had?
Yeah, that was spot on. That was spot on.
Mm-hmm. I love it, dude. What market are you in?
I'm in Atlanta.
Okay.
Atlanta area. Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of deals there, man.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta area right now. So.
There's a lot of deals. Yeah. What are you doing right now for the marketing side? Do you have DealMachine, and are you?
I got DealMachine and I got PropStream.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got both of those going.
Cool. Awesome, dude. And what are you doing kind of on the daily, weekly basis as far as putting the DealMachine side of it to play? And then what are you seeing so far kind of in results? Because what I love to do is have you walk away from this with like a really awesome game plan.
Yeah.
And I just let me reverse. Have you closed a deal yet from any type of marketing?
Not yet. I've been in this about 2 weeks now, and I haven't closed. Yeah.
You're brand new there, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Yeah.
So what are you doing so far? How many properties have you put in the DealMachine?
I want to say 4.
Okay. David, what was the number you guys gave for kind of like the average number of properties to put into DealMachine before a deal comes out?
Great question. Yeah. So in Atlanta, I would suggest adding at least 300 properties that look run down. And you want to focus on getting to that number as soon as possible, because it is a numbers game. Sales and marketing has an analytical component. You've got to reach just enough people in order to find somebody that's wanting to sell their house like right at that time. So if you've got 4 in there, it's great. You've got to get that number up to 300 as soon as you can. So go driving, add more of those rundown houses and start marketing to those houses.
Okay.
Get it,
All
buddy.
right.
And dude, one thing you can do too is grab some friends or some other people too and recruit some deal finders for you, because that way you can kind of stack them up faster.
Yeah.
But like David's saying, and we're experiencing it too. I've been doing real estate since 2004, not as a wholesaler and flipper. Like I'm a buy and hold guy. I literally got into wholesaling 2 months ago just to do it. Cause I'm like, dude, I want to use our own software. Cause I've been doing this for years as far as SEO, lead gen, PPC, all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, I'm going to start from scratch myself in a market, partner with the client who I know can close, and just use the system to see how fast we can get deals done. So wholesaling is new to me too. And the cool thing is, if you remove emotion from the equation and just go with math. So what David gave you was math. He said 300 properties likely will give you a really, really good chance to get a deal done. It removes emotion, because if we just use emotion, we're like, man, I'm tired. I've already put 90 something properties in, it's maybe this thing doesn't work. And we're using emotion instead of math. Same thing happens on the online side. We went into it, said, what's our average profit per deal in that market? Well, we started with 20K because that's what he's usually getting. We said, okay, well, how much money are we willing to spend to get that 20K out in marketing? Well, you know what? I'd be willing to spend $5,000 to get 20 all day long. I'd like to spend less. It'd be cool if I could spend $1 and get 20,000 out. But realistically, let's say I'd be willing to spend $5K to get 20 out. And then we said, okay, cool. So how many leads might it take to close into one of those $20,000 deals using online marketing? It's about 1 in 10 to 1 in 15 usually. Bo happens to be closing it at a way better rate. He's crazy. And so then we go, cool, awesome. So if I'd be willing to pay $5,000 to get a $20,000 profit deal, and it might take me 10 leads to do that, I can technically spend up to $500 a lead, which sounds crazy. That's a lot. Like, I don't want to spend $500 a lead, but math says I can. Math says I can spend up to $500 a lead, close 1 in 10 and win. And so we just eliminated all the emotion, and we stepped into it with math and said, okay, let's just see what happens. And we weren't going to stop our marketing at all until we got to 5K or closed the deal. We happened to close the deal at $1,800 and close that first deal, which is a $56,000 profit. So, dude, use math, dive into it, get 10 properties a day added for the next 30 days, and you got it nailed.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Great question. And thanks for breaking that down, Trevor. I thought that was really helpful. Guys, you got anything else?
Gail, did you have a question there you'd like to jump into?
Gail, how's it going?
Hi, how is it going?
I'm good. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in California, in the Bay Area.
Oh, love it. Are you just getting started too, or have you guys gotten a few deals under your belt?
Yeah, I'm just pretty much getting started. But I had a question kind of similar to Geisy, I guess it is, that just spoke. So I've been doing a lot of the driving, and it's a little different here in the Bay Area. So you don't get like a lot of the vacant properties, I should say. You get some that, need some work. It's usually like absentee owner, but also I've been seeing a lot of properties that have it says corporate trust. So is that still, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a LLC, does it? Or it's just that they have it in a trust, and can we get that contact information for those people?
Great question. So if a house is in a trust, that's just simply they've done some planning for if that person passes away, what would happen to that house. That's what that means. So it's very similar to the house being in an LLC. It's just an entity that can be owned by an individual, but there's just an entity that provides some more rules about how it operates. And you can skip trace trusts and LLCs in DealMachine. And that works the same way you could skip trace a house that's owned just by a single person as well.
Okay. And so have you had any success with those type of properties that, because I know sometimes it's a little more challenging getting the contact information or finding exactly who's over that trust?
Great question. So if you're doing cold calling, the skip tracing for those is definitely more challenging sometimes, although it's getting better. What I would say though is that trust still needs an address and a valid address. And so sending mail to that address that's coming back for whoever owns that trust is going to be, it should be a pretty accurate way of getting in touch with that person, as well as your website could bring them in too if they're searching for selling their house and getting rid of that house that's distressed in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then, so I came on a little bit late, so I don't know, did you guys mention, like, far as like, how are you marketing? Are you just doing the mailers, or is it a combination? What is the best way, especially in this market? Like I said, in the Bay Area, it's a little different from other areas. So
yeah, one thing I've realized is that every form of marketing can work and does work. What you want to make sure you know is like how the numbers are different. So for cold calling versus direct mail, it may require that you send more mail or more frequently in order to get a deal. And in different markets in the Bay Area, you're going to have to send more mail or cold call. No matter what you're doing, you're going to have to do a bit more marketing to get that deal. But you're going to get rewarded for that better because the prices are higher. Your wholesaling fee is going to be higher because of that as well. Great timing, Trevor, with the lead to close ratio. So I'll let you jump in there. But your original question was like, what marketing are you doing and is it working? For me personally, I've always done it with direct mail on postcards with my website on my postcard so that they can go and see who I am if they're curious from there.
okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Gail, I'll double down on what David was saying. And this isn't always the answer that everyone wants to hear, but they all work. You know, everything works. I think it really depends on what marketing method fits you the best. What do you enjoy doing? What works well for you? Test. I kind of like the shotgun approach at the very start. And for me, a shotgun approach is, let me try a few different things. And I'm going to go out there and, put 300 properties into DealMachine and use that as something. And I'm also going to allocate some time and resource or money into something else. So I'm doing a couple different things at once. And when you get that first deal with DealMachine, awesome, take those profits. And I always like to take the profits, then spin them into something that can buy me even more leverage. So it could be taking those profits and getting, some deal finders, doing some marketing to get some deal finders. So they're going to do the driving for you, or taking those profits and putting them into, getting your authority hub with Carrot created, or getting a Google pay-per-click account created or something like that to get some ads. The biggest thing is just really looking at what do you want to fuel the business? And then what are those activities that you can continue to do over the long term? The DealMachine part, driving for dollars, is something we'll really tell our clients a lot, to say, hey, in that first 2 weeks, get that spinning up, because everybody drives almost every day. So get the app, and you're driving to the grocery store, start putting stuff in, take the long route, next time, take a different route, have, someone in your family who drives a lot, have them start to do it for you and pay them a little bit of a cut. But then while I'm doing it, I'm going to test online marketing and see how that works in your market. It works in every market, but it just really depends on the execution. But yes, test a couple of different things. And once you found one that works for you, go all in that one thing. Just keep doing it deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then add something later. But don't do 3, 4, 5, 6 different marketing methods at once, because people will spread their time and money across a bunch of them. And it ends up not being enough investment in any of them to make them work.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And I was just thinking about just staying with it too. I think that is kind of the issue, that, not let's just, after you haven't, you have to keep recycling the leads, I guess, for a while too.
The consistency. I'm going to show you guys this here really fast. So this little graphic here with marketing and business, and this is something that's going to apply to everyone. It applies to me and my business right now. It applies to David and his business. The big thing is having this vision for where we want to go, right? Like what type of a business do we want to build? What is that vision out here? What do you want? Do we want freedom? Do you want consistency? Do we want predictability? What do you want your job to look like in a year and 2 and 3 years? What do you want that daily work to look like? and as long as we have that vision for what we're wanting to build towards, for me, when I started Carrot and my other companies, I sat down there and I wrote what I call non-negotiables. I wrote down on a piece of paper, I said, what are the things that I absolutely do not like about my previous companies or previous jobs? And just wrote down a whole big old list of them. And then I said, okay, Let me try to narrow it down to 3 to 5 things that I call my non-negotiables. And I'm going to make sure that my business always fits as I go forward. And I really didn't like how my business was inconsistent and unpredictable income wise before. I did not like the boom and bust, I didn't like how I wasn't having as much fun as I could have. I didn't like these other things. So I wrote down my 5 non-negotiables, and I said, okay, I'm going to make sure my business and the way that I market builds towards those non-negotiables. Consistency and predictability. It builds momentum. We're able to build an asset over the long term and get off that hamster wheel. And so what we like to do is in that first 6 months, y'all, in that first 6 months, you see this right here. The important thing is in those first 6 months when you're going, you got to hustle. Like you got to get out there and hustle. You got to put the feet to the pavement, the tires to the pavement, get out there and add properties daily. It might feel like a grind for a while, but that grind is what's going to get you out of it. A grind should not be your lifestyle for a long time. Your grind should not be your goal, but a grind is required for a short period of time to get momentum, to get lift off. And then as you've done that, you can do Deal Machine here to get your early momentum and keep doing that over the long term to keep that consistency of that coming, because you're always going to be driving. You're not going to ever stop driving. And then if you have a budget, you can launch something like Google Ads to get right at the top of Google and drive them to your Carrot website to get really motivated leads. And then over time, you start to see this momentum pick up. But that momentum takes 3, 4, 5, 6 months oftentimes to really nail it. And that's when we need to get our mindsets really, really sharp to be able to see it through when things are really hard and results aren't coming in.
Yep. That was great to demonstrate what the startup period is like. I really liked your visual that you had prepared here. You've got a lot in this library. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
So we're going to do one more question, and then we're going to jump into topic number 2, which is going to tell you how to mix your offline and online marketing to find those wholesale deals quickly. Jacob has joined us as a guest. Can you hear us, Jacob? If it takes Jacob a minute.
Hey, sorry about, are you referring to this Jacob Winters?
That's right. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing very good.
Awesome. So this is just answering one of my questions. So basically my situation, I'm 22 years old, just kind of got this going, getting kind of excited about all this real estate investing stuff. Along with the Deal Machine, getting a website set up and, obviously all the social media stuff, where would you kind of direct someone who's brand new to kind of dig most of their time and energy into all this?
Yeah, I'll kick it off and then toss it over to you, David, after this. I mean, the biggest thing is any one of those things you just mentioned there could get you deals. So like in any single one of them. So Deal Machine by itself can get you deals. Carrot by itself can get you deals. Just cramming on social media and Facebook groups, hustling on Craigslist ads, like those can all get you deals. So I think the biggest thing is the path that you just chose there, even just the Deal Machine and Carrot part of it. That right there, Deal Machine has people making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if not into the 7 figures, probably some of them just on Deal Machine. Carrot has people making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and well into 7 figures just on Carrot. So I think those things that you've got are probably all that you need, possibly. You just need to go really deep in them. And the big thing I think is more on the mindset side. It's on. Are you clear on the goals that you have? Are you clear on what are those income goals? What's the lifestyle goal that you want to have? Making sure that we're not, I call it just in time learning versus just in case learning. One of the biggest things that all of us do is we start to soak up information from everywhere, right? It's like you guys are on this webinar and we're so glad that you are.
That's where I'm at. It's just a lot of info right now at once.
Oh, dude. And there is. And that's okay to soak a lot up. But here's the shift that you've got to make if you haven't already. And we've all gone through this, is it's natural to soak everything up because we're like, oh my gosh, I can't take action until I know everything. Right. Mm-hmm. But the more that you know, the more that you realize you don't know. So then it's this vicious cycle where you think you have to read everything. Before you know it, you can answer the questions in the Facebook threads better than anyone else. And you hadn't done any deals yet. Right. And I was that guy 10 years ago. And so here's the deal: is shift your mindset from just in case learning. Hey, I'm going to learn this thing just in case I'm going to need it someday, to just-in-time learning. And Jacob, you're at the spot now where you've already got Deal Machine. You're tapping into this training. It sounds like you've tapped into other trainings. I would sit down there and write down and say, what is the very next thing that I actually need? And what I would ask you is, are you getting leads? Are you getting enough properties in Deal Machine? And if that's not the case, I wouldn't worry about CRMs except for what Deal Machine has, like use what is already in there. I wouldn't worry about learning how to negotiate yet. I wouldn't worry about how to do contracts yet. None of that stuff. Like literally just go, shoot, I don't even have enough leads. So just focus on getting leads.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yep. And then once you've got leads, and let's say you've got your 20 leads or your 30 phone calls that have came in, and you're like, oh shoot, I have no clue what to say to these people. Right. So then,
well, that's probably where I'm at the strongest. I'm currently a loan officer. So
oh, cool.
Kind of have the negotiation talk lingo down. So
yep. So you're nailing that part, and then just every step go, oh man, well, what's going to happen next? So I'm going to need to learn how to like make an offer. I'm going to need to learn how to comp out a house. And as soon as you have a house you need to make an offer on, you hop in the Deal Machine training stuff, look in their YouTube channel, look in ours, hop into a Facebook thread and say, hey guys, I'm going on my first seller meeting right now, like an hour. What do I say? Or is there a resource? And just literally just learn it just in time, and get the learning part of it out of the way.
Okay. Gotcha.
Cool.
Appreciate
Jacob,
that.
how many properties do you have in your Deal Machine account so far?
So I'm actually not set up with Deal Machine yet. I'm waiting for a call from one of your guys' sales reps.
Okay.
Yeah. Just put that inquiry in just the other day though. So
got it. So you already reached out. You already connected with them. You're just waiting for that next call.
Yep. Just waiting for the next call.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Get it,
brand new.
Awesome, dude. Congrats, buddy.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Trevor, why don't you take the screen back over and lead us through that second piece of content, which is some more guidance on how to mix online and offline marketing.
Yeah, dude. And I'll make this one decently short because we've touched on a lot of it already in some of the Q&A and stuff. The biggest thing I want you guys to think about right now is I already showed that graphic here, about offline marketing drives online demand. We kind of talked about Carter and how he moved from that pretty looking website to what we call an authority hub, something that truly helps you separate yourself and win more deals. But the biggest thing is this, is like this right here is Tyler Ford, client of ours. He does about 5 deals a month down in Tucson, Arizona, as an agent and an investor, does about 5 listings a month and 5 deals. And he started to move his lead to close ratio from 1 in 25 to 1 in 18. Now he's closer to 1 in 12 to 15. And you guys might ask, well, how that happened. So what happened was he does some direct mail and he does online. Most of his deals, he's chose to make the online route. But like David was saying earlier, he'll include his phone number on there, his URL on there. And there's a couple tips I want to give you guys to make the online side of it, make all of your offline work better. Okay. So what's really, really common is when you're doing cold calling, direct mail, Deal Machine, direct mail, SMS, text message marketing, whatever you're doing. What's really common is we'll use tracking phone numbers, right? So you're going to go get a phone number from Callfire or wherever, Google Voice or whatever, and you're going to get a tracking phone number because you don't want people calling your cell phone number all day, right? And so we put those on our marketing. Now what happens is who has ever gotten phone calls? I got 3 of them today where I had no clue who it was. They left me a voicemail. I really don't care to listen to the voicemail. And sometimes I literally just Google the phone number, right? I just go to who's this person that's called me 4 times this week? I just want to see who the company is because I'm not going to call them back because I have no clue who they are, right? And so I come on and I Google the phone number. And this is really common. And your sellers are doing the same thing. What happens when you Google a phone number of a tracking phone number, one you bought from Callfire or somewhere, is it something up is going to pop up that says it's all these websites are going to say scam call website or whatever. I'm going to look up literally a phone number that called me today that I have no clue who it is. And I'm just going to type in whatever this is. And this may be a really good illustration. It may not be because I didn't test this before I came on the call. But someone from that called me twice today and I have no clue who it is.
Robocalls, right?
Exactly.
That's the first thing that stood out to me.
It is, right? And so what happens, I put this in, and can you imagine if you're trying to get a deal done and you send a postcard or did a cold call or whatever from a phone number, and the person Googles this and they see something like this. They don't see a real company. They don't see a website that says who it is. They don't see anything that makes them feel comfortable. you're automatically working from a point of disadvantage. You're automatically working from a point where you now have to earn their trust back. Okay. What if instead, they did a Google search. I'm just pretending that this is his, that this is his tracking number. Let's say that they did a Google search and they find something like this instead. Oh, well, I can see this. I'm going to click this. And it goes to a website that is great on mobile devices. It goes to a website that says they're a real person. That's testimonials, shows reviews. And this is a Carrot. This is a Carrot website. They're all set up to be amazing on mobile. They load the fastest in the industry. They're set up for conversion, not just prettiness. This right here is going to help close more deals. So take all of your tracking phone numbers. If you've got 10 tracking phone numbers, write them all down, and then go to your contact page, and you can just log into your Carrot system. I'll show you guys really quick if you are a Carrot member, because I know there's Carrot members on here. You can log right in here, go to pages, find your contact page, click this right here to edit the contact page. And then you can really quickly and simply just scroll down here and go, cool, I'm just going to add in, all these tracking phone numbers down here at the bottom of the page, something like this. You may have landed on our website by searching one of the phone numbers below. Great. We're excited you're here and excited you're here. Whatever it is. If you're looking to sell your house in whatever the city is, type it in, right? We'd love to make you a fast cash offer or whatever it is, right? And then put all those phone numbers here. Because that's the question people have is like, oh, shoot, I have 20 phone numbers. I have 5 tracking phone numbers. Where do I put them? Put them at the bottom of your contact page. Mm-hmm. As soon as you do, when people Google that phone number now, it's going to pop up to the top of Google. You guys might be asking this like, oh, Trevor, that doesn't really matter. Why are we doing that? Going all the way back to the start of this call. If your average profit per deal is 20K, and there's that person who did that Google search and they didn't find anything credible, nothing that made them feel good, how many of those $20,000 deals are you okay with losing? And you'll never know you lost them. You'll never know that you lost them because the person's not going to say, oh, I Googled the phone number and I couldn't find you. They're just going to go do business with somebody else. How many of those $20,000 deals are you okay with losing because of underperformance? The other quick thing on the mixing offline with online is there's a couple kind of cool things that you can do. And one of them, this is kind of advanced. So if you're newer or don't have any experience in this, let this one kind of simmer, put it off to the side and come back to it, at some point in the future. But if you're more advanced, and let's say you have your 300 properties, your 1,000 properties that you've sent DealMachine postcards to, you can take that data out of DealMachine. You can upload it into Facebook as what's called a custom audience. And now I can serve up Facebook ads to those exact same people I'm sending DealMachine postcards to. So now when they show up on Facebook and they're on their news feed, not only are they getting a drip sequence of DealMachine postcards, but now they're over here and they're getting an ad right here that is your ad. That's like your ad with a testimonial saying, hey, do you want to sell your house in Indianapolis? And then that ad would link over to your Carrot site to help them close that deal. So that's more of an advanced strategy that a lot of the competitors who are closing a lot of deals are doing, but it's that next level as you get more advanced in DealMachine and the online side.
Yeah, and we just got a question that this answered from Joan of Adventure on YouTube. So we're also live on YouTube. Cool. She was asking how to create more credibility on your website. This is one thing that's very easy to do. You can add your tracking phone numbers in a matter of minutes, like Trevor just did on the call.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's probably a couple other ways. One is on this screen, right, where you've got a video testimony. Well, I guess the question was if you haven't gotten a deal yet. So if you haven't gotten a deal yet, you can't have a testimonial, but you could post a 2-minute video, right? And what would you say in that 2-minute video, Trevor?
Dude, 100%, man. Because the thing that I always like to say, because first of all, when you're newer in anything, the first thing that is going to pop up in our minds is the reasons why we can't do something, right? And so what we always want to say is, well, let's not think about the reasons why we can do something. Let's think about the reasons why we can do them. And so if you look at it and go, well, maybe I haven't done as many deals as Bo, right? I don't do 20 deals a month like Bo. But here's the deal, guys. Bo started with 0 deals. He started with 0. And all that he had was his smiling face, and he had him. He said, he's like, I'm Bo, I'm a local guy. I'm an insurance agent here, and I'd love to help you sell your house. And so what I would do is I'd take out my cell phone if I had never done a deal before, and I would do this. And I'll give you one last tip too, to build your credibility, even if you've never done a deal yet. I would take out my cell phone and say, hey, this is Trevor with ABC Home Buyers here in Louisville. And I'm excited you're on my website because number one, if you're anything like me, your home is your biggest purchase. It's the biggest asset. And also it can sometimes be the biggest pain that you go through if you're going through certain types of situations. Name off those situations. If you're going through a divorce, if you just inherited the house, if you're behind on payments, if there's any of these reasons, I get it. I've been through that before, or whatever it is. Okay. And then say, you can say, I've been a school teacher here in Louisville for 15 years. And one of the things I'm the most passionate about is actually helping families live in homes that they can thrive in, and also beautifying neighborhoods. And so what we do is we work with home sellers just like you who are ready to part ways with their house that maybe they can't maintain, or they're behind on payments or whatever it is. We pay you a really fair price so you can go on your way and live life and have the problem out from underneath you. And then we go in there and work with other investors to help beautify the home and get an amazing family into it. It's a win-win for everybody. So if you're looking to sell your home for a fair price, I'd love to bring in my experience in da-da-da-da-da. And that experience can be in school teaching. It doesn't matter what it is. So tell people why you care about the area, why you're doing the business, why you're passionate about helping those people. And then as you get credibility, put up testimonials too.
Another video could be like you talking about like some of your favorite neighborhoods, or like parts of the city that you really love, and because remember that deal in 2018, I said at the beginning, the video they found was about leadership training from my fraternity days. That was like 5 years ago. It didn't have anything to do with real estate, but it influenced the deal.
Mm-hmm. Dude, big time. I'm trying to find, so these guys right here are a great example. The home buying guys in Dallas, Adam and Lance, and they came to Carrot Camp, a little event that we have here. And their first year in business, they dropped $40K and didn't do one deal. $40,000, and they tried everything. They're like literally the whole thing that I was telling you before. They tried everything and they did it kind of halfway through and lost 40 grand. And then they said, we're going to hyper focus. And so they hyper focused in year 2, did over $300,000. And the cool thing is, in that second year, like you guys can see this here. It's just some smiling faces. They're in front of the local movie theater. They're just talking about who they are. They do have testimonials now, but originally they didn't. And if you were to go on their Instagram, which I think that they have it linked up somewhere, they have a really good Instagram channel. Lance goes out there and literally just goes and does, he calls it lunch with Lance. And so he's building credibility. He's out there building personality. He has lunch at a different spot in Dallas every week. He records a video on it. Lunch with Lance. Then he talks to the owner of that restaurant. He gets people to know who he is, that he's a local home buyer. And then he also does walkthroughs. So if you've never done a deal, but you're getting leads, document it. Do a walk through the property. Hey, this is Trevor with ABC Home Buyers. I'm actually at a house where a gal named Marcia inherited this house. And I'm going to kind of walk you through it just to show you the types of situations that we really, really enjoy helping people through. And then you show them whatever you're allowed to show. Hey, it's in disrepair or whatever it is. And if you have a house just like this, we'd love to help you out. We've been in the area for 25 years. I've been a school teacher at this neighborhood over here. I've absolutely loved working with families or working with people who are in tough situations like this. It's my specialty. School teacher for 20 years. I work in tough situations every single day, and I'd love to help you through this as well. So little things like that. One last thing you can do on credibility is go to coworkers that you have. Go to your former boss or your existing boss. Go to your banker, the person who's been the teller at your bank for 20 years, for 10 years, for 5 years. Go to your insurance agent that you got to know. Go to the person who's in the Rotary Club that you've been in, or whatever it is, and just say, hey, I'm starting this new venture and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be buying houses and beautifying neighborhoods and really being a part of the real estate market. It's very exciting. I know we've had a chance to work together, me as one of your clients on the insurance side. Would you be willing at all to kind of write down just a character reference for me, like how it's been to work with me? And they can just write down, I've been working with Trevor for 7 years, and I always love his energy and his enthusiasm, and I'd actually absolutely jump at the chance to be able to work with him. Didn't say anything about real estate. It's just a character reference. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we're looking for, is to build that trust and credibility.
three great ways. I wanted to pause there because we've got a guest on, Patrick.
Cool. Patrick, what's up, man?
Saw you hanging out there for a minute. How are you doing? Oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I think
you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that.
There he is.
Yeah. So I have a little assistant over here. It's a great talk, Trevor. You've been saying some amazing, valuable things. I'm actually pretty new to this. Literally, I'm starting with DealMachine tomorrow, and awesome. I had a couple of questions in terms of St. Pete. We're in St. Pete, so St. Pete is a very busy place. In your opinion, like what would be the sort of conversions that you would expect if we started, tomorrow? Would it be like 300 houses as well to get into, starting to see some sales? And then the other question I had is, if we go into ad spend, let's say they were planning to put in some money into Facebook ads and Google ads, what would be what would you consider to be a testing budget? Assuming that we want to close maybe one out of that, would it be 500? Would it be, or would you put a percentage on what you're expecting to get from the house? Those are my two questions. And thanks again.
Good question, man. David, why don't you take the first one, man, on the driving for dollars side?
Gotcha. Yeah. So just to make sure I understand your question, you're just starting out. You're starting with DealMachine tomorrow, you said, which welcome to the family. Glad to have you on. And what market are you in again? St. Pete? Is that what you said?
Yes, St. Pete, Florida.
Okay, got it. So there, I'd really focus on, adding 500 properties, a little bit more than 300, just because the market in Florida is a little bit higher price point than Midwest, like where I'm at, Indianapolis. I would go pick the default template in DealMachine, edit that signature. It's called the signature, where you put your name, your contact info, and put your website, your Carrot website. And if you don't have the Carrot website, you can do that very quickly. Make sure your marketing phone number is on there. And then I would send out the mail campaign and have the postcards repeat every 21 days. That's the default. Avoid messing with a lot of the settings, a lot of the configurations. And then when they call you, you don't need to have a script memorized, but just go ahead and talk to them and ask, why they called you, why do they need to sell your house, and walk through it from there. And learn the next step when you get there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, that's great insights. So the next question would be, in terms of ads, if we wanted to start promoting the website, if we wanted to start putting, having a couple landing pages and running Facebook ads and Google ads, would you recommend? Because I come from the crowdfunding space, so usually for me the crowdfunding was, if you want to get into a funding goal of 100,000, you're going to invest 10% of that to get you to that 100,000. So Would you see similar conversions in this space for that, or is it totally different?
It's an awesome question, man. It does depend on a lot of factors, right? I mean, you can go down the list of the market, the competitiveness of the market, how good that person can close the leads, and you go on and on. Like in Louisville with Bo, it's not normal to close 3 out of 7 leads into deals and do over $100,000 in your first 3 leads in under 60 days, right? That's not normal. Now it's normal for guys who do that every day. It's normal for me. It's normal for Bo, but we've been doing it for 10 years, right? We've been doing it for a long time. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is you can get there, but it's the little things that are making it so he closed 3 out of 7 in a deal, versus most other people might not close any of those into a deal because they're not following up fast enough. They're not willing to follow up as much as Bo was, and the negotiation ability, things like that. But those are all things you can grow and improve. And it sounds like you already probably have a lot of that, which is really cool because you're not starting from scratch. So I'll give you the real answer now. Is what I like to do, and St. Pete's a great market. It's a really good market. We get lots of leads in that market. This site here, I know, is one of our clients. And they may even be like, you may even reach out to them literally and see if they'd be willing to sell you their leads, because they don't live in St. Pete. I know.
I've seen that website's pretty well built, by the way.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years, dude. They're crushing it. Like if you were to Google literally sell my land, at least last time I looked, just like nationally, they get 300 to 400 land sellers a month coming through their system, but they've done the work, right? They've decided rather than doing something else, they decided to do the build out of Carrot, and that's their choice, right? But it was a lot of work. And so what I always start with myself, Patrick, when I'm going to market. So if I was going into St. Pete today, I would do this calculation. Let me share my screen. And this is going to be really, really valuable for anyone. I kind of verbalize this calculation, but it'll be helpful having you guys see it. So do you know, Patrick, what the average profit per deal is in that market possibly?
The average profit?
Yeah.
I think it's like, no, I'm not sure yet.
Okay. I'm just going to use a 10K number for round numbers, but in St. Pete, likely it's probably higher than that. So we'll use a conservative number here. It's probably somewhere between 10K and 20K for a pure wholesale. But if you can find the hedge funds who are buying in certain markets, and I'm not sure if they're buying at volume there, that's where we're seeing crazy returns. Where normally someone might make $20,000 on a wholesale in Louisville. We have a wholesale, Bo texted me today, that's going to have $105,000 profit for a wholesale deal. Like it's crazy in some of those markets where the hedge funds are buying. So I'm going to use a $10,000 number for really, really conservative numbers. So then what I like to do next is say, well, how many leads? And what I count as a lead, Patrick, is if it's DealMachine, it's someone who physically calls you up. Okay. They call you up or they went to your Carrot website and submitted the web form. That's a lead to me. And so a lead is someone who physically submitted their information on your website or called you up from a DealMachine postcard or website. I'm just going to go with this number because that's not out of the question for the online leads to close 1 in 10. And I'm not good with math, and it's easier to divide things by 10 than anything else. So I'm going to use it for this calculation. So what I always like to do is my rule of thumb, you probably can't read this writing, but my rule of thumb is to start with 25%. So you mentioned 10% for crowdfunding. I always like to start with 25% because what happens oftentimes is when people are starting something new on the marketing side, they're leading with emotion. And they're like, oh man, what can I get done with $1,000 a month? And like if you're in the Bay Area, like the gal earlier, $1,000 a month, you can definitely spend that. But what if your average profit per deal, like a lot of our Bay Area clients, is 6 figures? Right? How much would you be willing to spend for $100,000 profit? Well, dude, I'd spend 15K all day long for a $100,000 deal. So if I'm only willing to put in 1,000, my competition is just going to kill me because they're willing to put in 10 to 15K to get those deals. I'm stopping at 1,000 saying it's not working. And so I use a 25% of your average profit per deal number as my rule of thumb to start. So in this case, it would be $2,500. That's that's what math tells me I should outline in order to have for a paid marketing budget there. Okay. And this applies for DealMachine too. With the cost for the postcards, like what's the average profit per deal? How much did you pay to get into that? But it's such low cost, you can scale it up pretty good. Now what I do next is this. You've nailed your cost per deal. You've nailed your max cost per deal there. Now what I like to do is ask, well, what's my max cost per lead? And then this is where we can go look at Google Ads and see if we can buy leads for less than that. And the answer is you can. And so in this case, if my average profit per deal is 10K and it takes me 10 leads to do one of those deals, okay, and I divide, I take 25% of that 10K, which is my max cost per deal, which is $2,500. Now I take that max cost per deal and I divide it by the number of leads it would take me to get that. Okay, so that's just $250. It's taking $2,500 divided by 10. That's $250. This is saying I can pay up to $250 a lead and have math wins. And so I would go into that market all day long and I would not stop marketing until I hit 2,500 or $3,000. If the average profit per deal is 10K. Now, last caveat is sometimes to get the first deal out using that new marketing method, it might cost you more. I was marketing Miami a couple of years back and I had a partner there, Alex Pardo, amazing dude. And we nailed our numbers and we were looking at them and our number was 5K. Dude, we didn't get our first deal done until $7,000 in. And so, but we were profiting about $22,000 a deal. And I was almost ready to pull the plug at 5 because my emotion was getting in there, but I'm like, okay, I know this works. I know Alex can close. Dude, if we can just get that darn deal, we're going to replenish the coffers pretty quick because we're averaging about 22K. And it took $7,000 to get that first $22,000 deal out. And most people would have stopped at 3 and said it doesn't work. And then you take those profits, and I put all the profits back in every time after the first one. The first one, all the profits go back into marketing, and then I don't start pulling money out until deal 3, 4, 5, things like that.
Okay, so that totally makes sense. And then what my last question is, you mentioned about the hedge fund.
Yep.
How would you approach that? Would you approach it through lenders, through private investors? Like how would you get into finding if that's a market for St. Pete?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's, David?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, based on my experience, if you go to a meet up with a lot of wholesalers, those wholesalers will know because the hedge fund will pay more than anyone else. So all the wholesalers are going to start to sell all their deals to this hedge fund. So they're going to know. So if you just go to a meetup and ask, in Indianapolis, one of those companies is called SFR3. And I just found out because I talked to wholesalers, and they're like, well, I started selling these deals over here to SFR3 and they're willing to pay more than anyone else. So a lot of it, I think, could be just discovered word of mouth. SFR3, they want to buy like 100 deals per month in a couple of different markets. And so they actually have somebody here that's on boots on the ground that would be like a contact, and you can find their contact, once you know who it is, probably through that person. And then you can just send them your deals. And so that's how I've found out about it in my market. What you got pulled up, Trevor?
Yeah, I was just Googling it just to see if there's any articles. I don't know, but that's what I'll first see if there's anything written up about it. Very, very non-fancy, non-techy there. But at the end of the day, anything that's kind of that middle market where it's not going to be a big swing market, it's not going to be a Vegas or something like that. Not saying they're not buying there, but where they're buying is they can purchase houses in the $200,000 usually and under range, 225 and under, that they can put in cash, and that the rents are still high, and you don't see big market swings on appreciation or contraction, and that they're able to get their 8% return. Like that's literally why hedge funds are buying right now, is they see the stock market is overheated and the potential to get deals in the stock market are less right now. They see inflation picking up. And so where can you put cash? They're borrowing cash at 1.5% right now, and they're on an arbitrage game. It's like money's cheaper than ever. They can't put that money into treasuries. They can't put it into money markets and get an arbitrage. And they're like, I need a very, very safe, almost guaranteed return where I can churn out 8% return to arbitrage my $1 billion I just brought at 1.5. And the cool thing is, if inflation happens, which it is already, what happens with rents? Rents go up. That's like one of the only asset classes that you're actually going to be able to earn more in your return every single month because inflation is going up with it. So any of those mid-market, Indianapolis, Louisville, Kansas City's pretty decent, Memphis, like a bunch of markets like that. St. Pete might be one of them. But the way that Bo found out about it was actually literally his website. Was he set up a Carrot cash buyer website just like this. It's already optimized to have all this content on it. Then he went in there and just modified a little bit of it, used some of our SEO tools to start to get it ranked really, really high in Google. And he started ranking for phrases like this that hedge funds are searching: wholesale properties in Louisville, Louisville wholesale houses, Louisville investment properties is starting to pick up for him, Louisville wholesale deals. The hedge fund analysts are searching those. And they end up landing on the site. They opt in, they pick up the phone and call them, and they're like, I'll buy anything that matches this criteria.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Great questions, Patrick. And really excited to work with you tomorrow when you start your DealMachine efforts.
Yep.
And Jared Ellis is somebody we brought on. Funny enough, he just asked that question, but I've seen you ask a couple of good questions. So I wanted to bring you on, even though we just answered the recent one. How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My name is Gerard Ellis.
Okay, thanks.
You're fine. I'm located in Greensboro, North Carolina. I've been using DealMachine for a couple years now, and I just want to say thank you.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
But yeah, my questions were because I've been, like I said, couple years and a half, I've been using emotion instead of math. So I'm glad when you brought that up, I felt that. So one of my questions is, which is better, online marketing or offline marketing?
Yeah, man, it's it's like what's better to get in shape, running or biking? You know, it's kind of like they're both awesome. For me, it's kind of not one or both. I think I've got my preference. Other people have their preference. They both work. The biggest thing I always like to ask is picture your business in a year, and picture your business running on certain type of marketing. What would you want your business to run on? And then walk backwards from there. And I think there's a couple different things. You're going to get your scale, and I'll tell you what I mean by scale. I'll show up my screen. We'll do some more art time with Trevor here real quick. So you're going to get your scale, your volume from outbound marketing from offline. Okay, so if we're looking at the pie or like a bullseye or something like that, you're actually going to get where are we here? So we've got a little pie here. A smaller piece of the pie, of the overall pie, and that's not like a realistic number. Maybe it's this, or I don't know what it is, but a smaller piece of the pie in each market is going to be the online leads, and from a volume perspective. And that's because, one sec, my wife's calling me. Supposed to be done at the webinar already. I talk too much. So what happens is with this is the pie, the online leads is actually a lower percentage of it, but they convert higher because they're more motivated. Okay. So those are the people who are actively going online to search. They're crazy motivated. They're going to close at a lot higher ratio, like we showed in the deal in the stuff before. They're all seeking you out. They're people who are actively asking you for help. And then that stream is continuing to go up every year because more and more people are using the web. But it's really hard to get the volume out of online if you're just staying to one market, unless your city's huge, right? If you're in Dallas, you could do 5 to 10 deals a month online for sure. But if you're in a smaller market, you have to do offline for sure to get the deal volume up, because you're going to be able to tap the shoulders of more people to kind of what I call activate demand. And so that's why I like to do both. I like to do the online because not only is the online going to make my offline work better, right? Because they're going to be all the offline marketing you do drives online demand, whether you know it or not. They're going to be Google searching you. So at the very least, I'm like, cool, I'm going to pay, the $1,200 a year for Carrot or whatever it is that's for our $99 a month plan. There's plans at $69 a month too, but I'm going to pay that per year in order to save $10K. So I don't lose a $10,000 or $20,000 deal from my offline. At the very least, do that. At the most, then go, cool. Once you've got your offline cranking, and you're not saving, you're not losing those $10,000 or $20,000 checks anymore because of the lack of credibility, or the website's hard to use, or it's not easy to navigate on mobile, or loads slow, which we nail all that stuff. Once you nail that, then you can go, cool, now I'm ready to do online marketing. And that's the order that I would go.
Got you. Because I have been doing a lot of offline marketing as far as cold calling, direct mail. I've been doing a lot of bandit signs, dropping for dollars, of course. I've closed over 20 deals. It's just that I feel like my marketing funds have just gone back down because I haven't necessarily converted, and I feel like I need to have an uptick in my conversion. So I was thinking, I guess online marketing would be an area where I can increase on that, because like I said, I do have a Facebook page, but like you said, you can get distracted on Facebook, which is very true. Mm-hmm. That's very true. So I think having an online presence as a next step. But I was thinking about doing virtual. So what do you think about doing virtual wholesaling in cities that you're not actually in? Like, what do you think about
we do it. I'm not in Louisville. I've never been there before. So I've got someone on the ground in Louisville who does that. I drive the leads through Carrot, but you can do the same thing with DealMachine. You can recruit, deal finders in other cities that you don't live in. And that's an amazing way to do virtual. And so David has all the training for that, I'm sure, but go to Craigslist, go to Facebook groups and investor groups, attract your DealMachine deal finders in those spots that you're not in. And then you can launch a Carrot site. And that's the cool thing about this is, I could launch a Carrot site today and I could optimize it for a city that I've never been in. I can start to get leads. Or the cool thing is too, you can launch a website and have a bunch of different pages, and each page is for a different city. And it's kind of like Zillow. When you go to Google and type up and search houses for sale in whatever city, you never land on Zillow's homepage. You always land on a page, Zillow.com/whatever city /blah/whatever. And that's our strategy at Carrot, is you set up a page for every city you're investing in or looking for sellers in. You could have one, maybe two sites, and then you optimize it, go through our training, go through our coaching calls, start to get it ranked in Google, or take one of your profits and do some paid ads. We've got the training on that. We've got the ads that we can even give you to get a head start on all that stuff. Yeah. So I think they both work. For me, I would definitely do both. And the way that the internet is going today and the way that life is going, people that don't have a strong web presence, people that don't have a web presence at all, 1000% for sure, you're losing those $10,000 and $20,000 checks, 1000% for sure. Like, it's not if you are, it's definitely you are. It's like going to Amazon and you're looking up a pair of shoes and you found a pair of shoes that looks kind of cool, but there's no reviews on it. No one buys that. Like, no one buys the Amazon shoes with no reviews on it. They go back to the list and they're going to buy the one that's 3.5 stars. Even though it's 3.5 stars, they feel more trust because other people have gone before them. Don't be the Amazon shoes with no reviews, because no one's going to buy that. No one's going to work with you.
So
yeah,
with Carrot, with Carrot, you would have Google reviews.
Yeah, what we say is your Carrot website should essentially be what we call an authority hub. It should be the hub of everything, all of your business, all of your marketing. It's the center of your credibility. It's what you would put on your DealMachine stuff. It's what you would link to on your Facebook page. It's what you would link to on your Google reviews, like I was showing before. You set up that Google local profile. You start to get reviews on Google, which actually helps your website rank higher in Google, getting reviews on it. But then when you're setting that up, you link to your Carrot website from that, which helps it rank higher in Google. And then on the Carrot websites where you put your credibility, it's got your good about page, has a picture of you. If you want to have a picture of you, has some reviews and testimonials. If you don't have testimonials from those 8 deals you've done, dude, break down the deals and do a case study. You know, deal number 1 or whatever, seller number 1, it was Marsha. She went through, inherited a house, and here's one sentence on the situation. Here's a picture of the house that I bought, and here's how we helped her. You know, so you don't even have to do a review from her, just do a case study on the website.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay. And what are the top 3 ways to acquire leads? That was my last question.
Oh man. DealMachine, Carrot. No, I mean, they all work, dude. Once again, it comes down to preference. For me, just because I know what I know and I've been doing it for years, I'm going to go launch a Google Ads campaign first for me, and do DealMachine. Those are the first 2 things I would do, because you can get immediate results. And that's what I'm always looking to do, is I want to get quick results first while I'm building up what I call the evergreen marketing. The evergreen marketing is getting ranked really high in Google and getting that consistent evergreen traffic coming to you all the time. Like, people are just coming to you all the time after you put in the work, right? You got to put in the work. But I would do DealMachine to get leads and deals cranking quick. And they're highly targeted, way better than doing a mass direct mail drop where you're pulling a big list. Those work, but because DealMachine is so targeted, it's only to houses that are run down, they're going to convert way better. And I would launch a Google pay-per-click campaign using what we talked about with Patrick earlier to come up with your ad budget. And then I would just do those to start and get that first deal or 2 done or 10 done. And then I would do, for me personally, I would then work on getting ranked high in Google. But a cold calling works great. Text message marketing works great. It just depends on what you want to do. If you love cold calling, dude, and you get up in the morning, you're pumped about cold calling, or you found a great team to do it for you and it's working, keep doing it. And don't do the SEO side. Just do the DealMachine and PPC and cold calling. It just depends on what you want to do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks, Gerard. Hey, we're going to do a quick lightning round of questions, see if we can get in a couple more. And then at 8:30, we're going to convert over. We're going to give you guys a quick demo of Carrot and a quick demo of DealMachine. So we've already got Jessamy lined up. Are you there? Can you hear me? I think you're muted.
I'm here.
Hey, how's it going? Yep.
It's good. I know I can't see myself, but I think you guys can see me. So,
yep, we do.
Okay. Yeah. So I just have a real quick question. So my market is I'm right on the border of Indiana and Illinois by Chicago. So I do the south suburbs of Chicago, but I also do Northwest Indiana. And my question is, if you have multiple people, wholesalers using Carrot, how does that affect when somebody searches? Like if somebody searches sell my house in Portage, Indiana.
Yep.
If you have other wholesalers using Carrot, how would that, is it like you're competing? If they're if Carrot's that good, then how does that work with Google? Is it so that are we all on the first page? Is it just depends on if they're doing their Carrot website well, the things that they're doing on a daily basis? How does that work exactly?
Yep. Awesome question. The first really good question, by the way. So the first thing that I always like to look at is, number one, with any marketing method, we're always needing to find ways to stand out, and that standing out should be credibility and trust, ideally, right? And so whether you're doing DealMachine or whether you're doing direct mail or cold calling, we've heard many stories from people who are doing cold calling, and that seller literally received 7 phone calls from 7 different investors. And so if they're using the same different method or the same method, which is cold calling, what's the difference? It's the words that they might have said, the intonation. It might be how many times they actually called them, whatever it is. Same thing with direct mail. If people are sending direct mail, how do you then modify that direct mail a little bit? So it's still a piece of paper. It's still words. It's probably still going to say, we'll buy your house. But how do you modify it so it brings in some of your credibility, some of your story? Because it's still going to say, I'll buy your house, I'll pay cash, that, things like that. So with the website side of it, let's kind of go to your Louisville as an example. So sell my house fast, Louisville. Well, first of all, you can see, one second, I can't talk and type at the same time. Cool. So one thing, first of all, is in any market, there's gonna be lots of different phrases your sellers are putting in. Okay. So you can see Google is giving me just a small sampling of what some of them are. Sell your house fast in Louisville. We buy houses Louisville, KY. Sell my house fast, Georgia, which is interesting. Sell house Louisville. There's cash home buyers Louisville. There's all of those. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phrases that sellers are typing in. So that's the first thing, is I think a lot of people think that there's only 1 or 2 phrases that sellers are typing in. There's a lot of them. Sell my house fast and we buy houses tend to get a lot of the searches, but cash home buyers converts amazingly well, and all those types of phrases. So there's a lot of phrases. Number 2 is if you kind of think about race car driving, when you're doing NASCAR as an example, essentially everyone has the same chassis because that chassis and all the different elements of it perform really well. Okay. The engine, those types of things, people use the best performing thing because it works the best. But from there, they modify it a little bit, right? They have a different driver in there, and that driver's got skill sets. They might modify the gas mixture a little bit or whatever it is. So the question I always like to ask is, first of all, what tool is the thing that's actually working the best? By proof and performance. And if you were to Google search it, you're going to overwhelmingly find Carrot websites perform the best. And there's no accident for that. It's not an accident that ranked number 1, number 2, and number 3 in Google, possibly number 4 in Google, are all Carrot sites. It's because the tool works the best. So if we're looking to compete, should we use the tool that works the best, or put ourselves at a disadvantage to something that doesn't work the best because we want to look different? So use the tool that works the best. But now, how do we make it look different? So look at this here. So this gal here, I believe, didn't really customize the site a lot, but she gets leads every single week. I see leads coming into the site. And so they uploaded a different photo. They've got their credibility in there. They do have John, actually, he's been to Carrot Camp. They have some testimonials. So you can see they're using a similar format, but they've kind of modified it a bit. Let me go back to Google now. So Bo here, using the same system, using our conversion methodology baked in. It looks different though. They used a different design that we know works really well too, but now they baked in their own stuff. They baked in more credibility, more testimonials, some more of our premium designs. And you can kind of go on down the list. There's ways that you can make Carrot look different, stand out design wise, but the real juice is the words, or is the videos you put on there, the pictures you put on there, the credibility that you put on there to really stand out. Here's another couple examples of some Carrot sites. Let me show. This one here is ranking pretty well. You can see they didn't modify it a lot, but it gets leads. Let me show you this one though. This is Keith up in Tacoma. He does 8 to 10 deals a month, almost all of them online. Usually 5 to 7 of them are online. This is a Carrot site. So he went in there, modified it. He brought in his picture. He's bringing in credibility. He went in there and put in the work to use our tool to make the website load fast. Our websites load crazy fast. We have all of the marketing tools baked in. But then he said, I'm just going to make it stand out for him with his credibility. So that's the answers. The tool is going to give you an edge, but dive in and do some modifications on it.
Do you guys work with the content, or we have to put our own content up there?
Yeah.
Or
so
is it built into the website?
Great question. So when it's launched, like as an example, this website here, Bo really didn't customize almost anything on it. So if you were to launch a cash buyer website like this, it would come out of the gate looking pretty much exactly like this, except for Bo put that in there and both put that video in there. He didn't change anything else, it looks like. And then from there, we've got all the pages created, everything. And then from there, you can go in there, and I would suggest going into each page and going, okay, let me read this content, which gives you a great start. It's set up to convert. It's set up to be structured, friendly to SEO. But then I would say, well, what do we do now to kind of make some of these words my own? And I would go through and go, what are they saying here? Cool. Let me rewrite those 3 paragraphs in my own words. Okay. Let me rewrite those in my own words. Throw a couple pictures in there. Yep.
Got
So
it.
Comes full with content, all the forms. You could literally, if you wanted to, start driving traffic to it an hour after you launch it or 10 minutes after you launch it. But I would suggest kind of personalizing it a bit.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
For sure.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Good questions.
Destiny. Hey, we've got one more question from Shola that I'd love to answer since Shola's already on stage. Are you there, Shola?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Where are you calling in from? Is that San Francisco?
No, I'm calling from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So southern New Jersey.
Other side of the country.
Just kind of borders Philadelphia, about 20 minutes away from Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, wonderful. And what? Where are you at with your real estate investing journey over there in New Jersey?
I would, yeah, I've done about 6 deals this year.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep, done about 6 this year. So I'm getting up there.
Now, are you in Cherry Hill doing deals there, or are you doing it remote?
Actually, I'm doing it locally. I'm pretty much focused on New Jersey.
Cool.
The whole state of New Jersey.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. You were doing the whole state. And what was your question? Could you repeat that on live?
The question I have is that, I have had Investor Carrot for about 4 years. On the lead generation side, the seller side, I have not had much success on that. I don't know whether that's because my market is competitive. But I get rent-to-own buyers and cash buyers without even doing any SEO. I just get those leads. But the key is I'm not really getting any motivated sellers, contacting me via my website. So I'm still having to do a lot of the heavy lifting by, making cold calls and direct mail, which is not scalable, as what Trevor said. So I'm kind of like at a crossroad, and I'm thinking, well, you know what, should I just use the website as a credibility tool and channel all my resources into offline marketing? So get the DealMachine, sign up for PropStream and just focus that on getting leads.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. The DealMachine side, and I'm going to keep on propping them up because it's always an amazing tool. I think everyone should be doing both. The question I'd ask you is, what have you had a chance to execute on the seller marketing side of it, Shola?
Well, I got the Investor Carrot site. I did quite a bit of customization on the front page. I created landing pages. I had about 10 landing pages set up. This goes back about 4 years now. Yeah. I bought the 3 lead per day training program when it was originally launched. I just signed up for the one that allows me to do some content marketing. You get the 3 websites: the cash buyer site, the rent-to-own site, and the seller site. Yep. But my frustration is that I'm not getting leads from my motivated seller site.
For sure. Have you done any paid marketing to it? And
no, I have not, because the whole point when I was getting into it, I was really looking at the SEO side. Yeah. So I was more focused on SEO because I was trying to build it up for long-term lead generation. I knew that I wasn't going to get immediate results in the first year, but I was hoping that at least within about maybe year 2 or 3, I'll start getting leads from my SEO. I wasn't really focused on pay-per-click. I wanted to use my dollars on the offline marketing, but I wanted to do the SEO as a long-term strategy.
For sure. And what's your website domain name? I want to take a look at it really quick.
It's sellhousefastnj.com. Sellhousefastnj.com.
This works great for a demo.
It does. I love it. Yeah. And I'll move into that. That's perfect,
That's the
David.
website right there. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So you've got that put up there, which is awesome. And there's some good questions. People are saying, what's different about Carrot? I'll kind of talk through them while we're doing this, but the big thing is, if you guys were to kind of look at the industry, we pioneered the high converting website framework, and we continue to innovate on it. We're always doing testing. We're the only ones you guys will probably find in the industry who does active testing and publishes the data on it to make the websites work even better. But then also our websites load crazy fast. We've had studies done that we were in the third-party studies that showed that the Carrot websites actually loaded faster than any other website system out there. And page speed is really important to ranking well in Google, to converting. And our websites loaded faster than every other website system out there, including Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, WP Engine. The only website that we did not load faster than by 0.08% was Google My Business's own websites. So that's one of the advantages. But let me show you this really quick. So I've got the website there that we had pulled up. I think the biggest thing, there we go. I think the biggest thing is, did you have a chance to build any backlinks? And I'm pulling a quick report.
I have not put on backlinks yet, no.
Okay. So on the SEO side of things, there's a few different elements to get a website ranked really high. So the first thing is we have to have a really good website structure, right? So a website that loads really fast, a website that is structured the right way. So when people land on it, it engages them. And that's what all Carrot websites are built from ground up for those. And then the number two thing is we have to go through there and modify our content, which it looks like you did, because we have our stock content on there, the content that is just already there, but we have to make sure that if we're wanting to rank well in Google, we need to kind of rewrite some of that so Google sees it as unique. And so like this phrase, this here, I can see that that's the words that were on the template website already. So I would kind of go through, Shola, and say, what content have you not had a chance to rewrite? Almost all this actually is the stock content that was already there. I would go through and spend an hour or two going, okay, let me just use Carrot's framework and rewrite this paragraph in my own words. Or we have a service that can do it for you. I see that you launched these pages. The same thing on these pages is the pages it looks like are pretty much just the stock content that aren't changed at all. So they're going to have a really hard time ranking in Google because Google is going to see them as the same. And so go through there and same thing, either do it or have someone do it, kind of rewrite, 40% of the words in these pages, and Google's going to see it as unique. That's going to help pop up your rankings pretty good. The next thing is that's called on page. Off page now is backlinks. It's websites that link to your website. And so I pulled a quick little report here, and this is all stuff that we help coach on in our weekly coaching calls. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't had a chance to hop on those weekly coaching calls, these are the perfect things that our team coaches on every single week, fully included in the $100 a month and above plan.
Okay.
But I pulled this up, and you do have some backlinks in there from a few websites. It looks like they're all from really lower level places. There's none that are kind of higher quality backlinks. Okay. And so those two things are going to help your rankings go up, is going through and spending a couple hours rewriting, 30-40% of the content on those pages, and then going through that 3 lead per day training right here and going to this module here, which is the backlink building module 4.2 and 4.3, and just follow that. Or we can show you some resources where you can pay people to build the backlinks for you. Okay. But that'll get things popping pretty good, just like with the other ones that we've been showing.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then do some paid marketing, because it works in New Jersey. I've got paid campaigns going in New Jersey. Clients have paid us to do that, and it works in New Jersey for sure. Okay. Yep. Cool. Well, David, I know we're getting kind of late. I don't want to dive in and do a deep demo. I think at the high level, people kind of saw, some of the benefits of Carrot, but I think the biggest thing is the tech stack. You're not going to find something that loads faster, that is more secure, that takes all the weight off of you. You don't have to, manage WordPress plugins. You don't have to manage any of that stuff. If you guys need help, you just literally pop over, and hit our live chat box and connect with our team, or hop on our weekly coaching calls. If you're on the Content Pro plan or above, and then you would come inside of here. Once you launch a website, you can pretty much nail the design. So this is what's going to help you kind of stand out. We have these premium designs for our advanced marketer plan, so you can stand out even more under the advanced marketer plan with the premium designs. You can choose these. They're all based on data. So the thing with our competitors is they launch designs that look pretty, but they don't have the data behind them. There's no data backing up why those designs, why this form field, why these words in that order, why this button with those words on it. There's no data on their end that backs up why those are there. Every decision we make at Carrot is based on data and testing. The words, the color button size, the order of the form fields, everything to help squeeze more profits out for you. Once you nail that design, go into the content section, update your design. And then I would pop in here and add on the keywords that you want to be able to start to rank well. And you type in those phrases you're looking to rank well in Google. And then our system's going to start to kind of track it for you. It'll tell you where you're improving. It'll tell you what you do to need to get it higher. And if you have questions, you go to our coaching calls or hop in the marketplace and pay someone to do it for you. If you do paid marketing, you can come in here and create a little tracking link for your Craigslist ads, your Facebook ads, your Google ads, and it's going to give you a special link and tell you how many people clicked it, how many leads came through it, the whole thing. And then you can integrate with lots of tools for CRMs. This one here, we have a very basic lead manager. So if you're in here, you can take this lead and move it through the path to follow up to pending. We don't have a follow-up system in place for email or text or anything. You can do some basic management in here or integrate with pretty much any CRM that you guys have ever heard about there. So that's the high level of it. Didn't have a chance to kind of go through like our content automation tools and things like that, but you guys can go check it out on our website, and we'd be happy to kind of show you some of the automation tools that we have in place to help you out.
Trevor, I have a question. Just one quick question.
Yep.
So if I follow the three lead per day training, is that sufficient enough for me to start to rank on Google, or is there some other things I need to do?
Yeah, for sure. And I'll send you a link right here. Shola is inside of our Carrot guide. I'll just link this up right here. Inside the Carrot guide, that's going to really guide you through a lot of the stuff. And the big thing with the content is, let's see, there's a section in there that talks about how to really modify your content and make it stand out. But the biggest thing is need to get in there and make your content more unique. So use our framework, but rewrite 30 or 40% of it, and then get those backlinks going, which is inside of the 3 lead per day training. Those two things, you're going to start to see things pop in the rankings within 4 to 6 months for sure. Okay. Yep.
I really like that guide. It's gives me a lot of confidence about what I do whenever I start my Carrot website to get the results right away.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, we're scheduled to give you guys a quick DealMachine demo. But first, if you guys haven't actually checked out Carrot, you really need to do that. We strongly encourage it. And AJ has been posting the link a couple of times in the chat. Scroll through there, check out the video we've put together just for DealMachine members, and check out Carrot right there. It's going to pair perfectly with the lead generation that you're already doing with DealMachine and your offline efforts when you combine it with the online efforts. And as Trevor said, there's a lot of data to back up the way they've created Carrot. So they're squeezing out as much profit as possible when you guys get a Carrot website. So definitely check that out. Do you guys want to see a quick DealMachine demo? I never asked if a lot of you guys are new existing customers or not. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to see that. If not, we can just do Q&A. All right, cool. Getting a few yeses. We'll do a quick DealMachine demo right now. So we're going to stay pretty high level. If you guys have a question, we can jump right in. But I thought I'd start right here on our website because there's actually 2 things that you can buy with DealMachine. You can buy one of our Driving for Dollars plans, or you can get List Builder. Both of these are methods to generate leads. Here's how you choose. So Driving for Dollars is going to give you the lowest cost leads with the greatest ROI. List Builder will give you leads faster, but it requires more marketing, which means more dollars. A lot of people will use both. Sometimes people come with a big budget and they're in a hurry, so they do list builder. Other people have an established business and they want to start squeezing more money, more return on investment. So they add driving for dollars to the methods they're already doing. But just so you're clear, this is the choice that you're going to make when you sign up for Deal Machine. Do you want driving for dollars? Do you want list builder, or do you want both? Then every plan comes with real estate data, skip tracing to dig deeper and get their contact info, and also a pretty sweet direct mail marketing system. So no matter which plan you choose, you're going to get these three things along with it. So just let me take you through a quick overview of this stuff. So let's start with driving for dollars. What you're going to do is you're going to have Deal Machine on your desktop. You're going to have the mobile app on your phone. You're going to get in your car and you're going to start looking for a rundown property. So as soon as you see one, you'll just click it on your map, probably on your mobile device, but it looks the same as it does here. And give me just a second. I think I'm in the wrong account.
Yeah, as David mentioned, it's go.carrot.com/deal machine. That's the one to know that they came from us, and you know, they'll definitely treat you guys well. So
okay, here's that rundown house we found. So you know, if you're on your mobile phone, you're gonna see just what you see on the left-hand column here now. So you can see the owner is a guy named Kevin Watkins. You can see that Kevin Watkins lives in this house. It says owner occupied. And if it's run down, you should still definitely just add it. And you could actually start a mail campaign. So if you wanted to send Kevin a mail campaign, you could do that right from the app, or you could skip trace Kevin. So we'll talk about direct mail a little bit more here in a second. And we'll talk about skip tracing a little more too, but this is how quick it is. You know, you can just get this number. I would definitely call the top one first, since we've verified that it is connected. And you could also see the caller ID is registered to Kevin Watkins. So you got a pretty good heads up, like this is this dude's phone number. And if that doesn't work for some reason, we do give you additional data that you could try Googling, or you could, you know, just get more information and dig deeper on Kevin if that first number actually doesn't work. And you've got an email as well that looks pretty, this is my cat, George.
That's awesome, man.
Pretty good. So, and then there's a few pieces of data here too, like assessed value, improvement value, land value, when it was built, square footage, and a link to the county's records. So there's a smattering of what you get when you're driving for dollars. Let's talk a little bit more about the driving for dollars feature. So let's back out of here. You guys are seeing some green lines on the map. So that means that's where you've driven before. And there's a yellow line, which means you've been there, but it's been a while. And you can control that here on the map by showing your driving routes. So the color just tells you how long ago it's been since you or somebody on your team drove there. And then the other thing that people really like is the highlights. So let's say you wanted to get a quick view of like, where's my vacant properties in my neighborhood? Well, you could turn on the highlights, you could have it show you the vacant properties, and you just go drive around those, check those out, add them if they look distressed. While you're there, just add any other properties that look distressed. So the highlights can be really helpful guiding you where to drive. So another way I use highlights, well, no, I'll save that for later. Anyway, this is the map. These are some of the core driving for dollars features. Driving just a little bit further, you could invite another driver to drive for you. If you're really serious, you could actually get the elite plan, which gives you a whole system for recruiting and training drivers. So this is somebody who's got a budget of like $3,000 a month or more in marketing. They want to pay drivers because their time is worth more closing deals than driving themselves. And we have this whole system where you set up a landing page to recruit drivers, to train them. It's everything done for you. So you can just most efficiently get those leads added through your driving for dollars method. Okay, so that's driving for dollars. Let's pop over to List Builder real quick. I don't want to hog all the time. So under lists, you could actually, instead of driving that area, man, George.
He's relentless, man. I love
it. You got to be like George when you're out there looking for leads, guys.
That's right.
So you've got, you could start with a zip code, a city, or you could draw an area, and you could select a hand-drawn area. And maybe you want to find those vacant properties again. Maybe instead of driving, you just want to pull the list. So you could do that. There's about 50 leads estimated in this area that are vacant. And then one other thing down here is like a smart list. So you could pull this list once and then you could market to it. Or you could turn smart lists on and say, hey, if another property goes vacant, add marketing to it. Or if one of these properties becomes occupied, stop marketing to it. That's what the smart list does. So then you submit, pull that list, and that's what List Builder does, is it lets you select leads that you want to market to based on a bunch of criteria. There's a lot more besides just vacant that you can choose from, but that's pretty much how it works. Okay, so those are the two different types of plans that you can use, one or the other or both. And then real estate data. We saw that on the pane whenever we pulled up a house. Let's talk about skip tracing. So we did a one-off skip trace. We saw how that worked. There is something else I wanted to tell you about skip tracing. Let's see here. So this is something that DealMachine does that nobody else does. I'm going to search by leads that were skip trace. Okay. A lot of times the skip trace providers, they just give you all the data that they could find. And then what you do is you just call through all of them, including the numbers that are bad. So what DealMachine does is we give you a visual representation. We give you more data to give you a heads up about this is probably the best number to call first. And so the way we do that here is you can see some of these are grayed out and some of these are bolded. So the numbers that are bolded because we've actually paid the check. Is this number recently verified as connected? And also if it's bolded, that means that the caller ID registered with the phone company actually matches what the owner's name is of that property. So when you guys are looking for your skip trace providers, definitely figure out, am I going to have to call these bad numbers or am I going to be able to know which numbers are most likely right? So we've kind of scored them for you already. And so you can just scroll through here and call the ones that are going to give you the lowest hanging fruit, if you will. So that's a really cool feature about DealMachine skip tracing. You could export these as well if you wanted to throw them in a dialer, and we would also give you that disconnected in caller ID name. So let's move on to the final area, which is direct mail. So direct mail, it just got a big upgrade in DealMachine. You can view and use any of our like 10 pre-done designs for you. And you could jump into one of these. You could actually change what the text says, what the color of the blue circle is. But now you could change the shape of the blue circle. You could put your own picture on there. You could totally custom design, or you could just upload a design file that you already have. So those are two brand new things that you can do inside of DealMachine. So let me show you how that works. So here we've got the main text, and you can edit that right here, and it kind of real time changes the postcard design. And you've got a few layers here. So you could put George. You could change different shapes. You could move what layer these things are in. I'm trying to find a good example here. Banner text. So we put the banner text behind the background. You can't see it anymore, but you could change what order things are in. You could move things around as individual components. So that's a really cool feature that we've set up for you. You could actually design something totally custom in DealMachine. And we also offer a couple different price or sizes. So we've always had the 4x6, but now you've got a couple of different sizes as well. Let's edit or exit without saving. we've got the 6x9 postcard, 6x11 postcard, and then the handwritten is actually going to cost a little bit more, but it's written with an actual pen. And so that gives you more of a personal touch. That owner's going to see that it was written with an ink pen, and it gives you a better response rate. So if you have the budget for it, the ballpoint letter is definitely something you'd want to use on those like really special deals that's just perfectly in your sweet spot that you really want to make sure you don't miss. And we've got the handwritten letter for that. So the last thing about the mail system I will describe is we used to have it so you could just send the same piece of mail over and over again. But now we've actually allowed you to more easily build a campaign. So you send postcard 1 followed by postcard 2 followed by postcard 3, and you could send them in sequence, and you're going to be able to see more analytics about that specific campaign's performance, which is so important. You want to be able to view the data from each of these experiments that you've run. So I'll let that load, but that's pretty much the conclusion of the DealMachine demo. Again, we saw you've got 2 options, right? The driving for dollars, the list builder as lead generation options. And then with every one of those, you get the data, the skip tracing, and the direct mail. So I'd just love to know, scale of like 1 to 10, how confident are you guys in the next steps that you're going to take? I would just be curious to hear in the chat, how confident are you guys feeling after we did this demo? We got an 8.
George is clearly a 10.
What's that?
The George is clearly a 10. So
yeah, George. Eric's a 12. That's great.
I know we're wrapping up here in just a minute. Trevor, do you mind talking about the 30-day challenge that you posted in the chat as well? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. Cool. For sure, man. I was looking through some things, and one of the things that we developed, it was a year ago. I'm trying to find the link here, but we have something we call the 30-day challenge. And the 30-day challenge is essentially it's a daily kind of a group coaching program for 30 days. We start one at the start of every single month. You guys, I'm going to link this up. If you guys are joining today, don't go through and pay the $99. It's a daily challenge for 30 days. We walk you through for those 30 days how to set things up. We get your mindset to shift on the marketing side of it. I also really believe in the personal growth side of it. So I'm injecting in mindset shift things the whole way. We then show you how to set up your first location pages to get them ranked well in Google. We show you how to take those and post them on social media. We show you how to design the website. You take our amazing high converting site and kind of make it stand out. We show you how to get your first leads through paid ads, all that in 30 days. And normally it's $100. You can engage with others going through the 30-day challenge at the same time. But anyone that does join, and this wasn't like, we don't have this big pitch or anything, so I'm throwing it in here. If you guys join through that link that they had mentioned above, and then email me, trevor@carrot.com. If you join today, I'll give you guys the free tuition for the next 30-day challenge. The reason I'm saying today is because the next challenge starts on the 1st, and the first call is actually on Monday. So I don't want to be like entering people into the challenge Thursday next week kind of a thing. So if anyone does join tonight, send me an email, trevor@carrot.com. Let me know the email you signed up underneath, and I'll give you the link to get enrolled for the challenge for free.
So awesome. Thanks so much for offering that tonight.
Cool.
Really
for sure,
appreciate
man. For sure. I like it.
What closing words would you have, Trevor? Anything else you want to close on?
Dude, I think the biggest thing for me, man, is there's a lot of really, really good questions on here. A lot of people that are newer. There's people who are closing deals, which is awesome. I think the biggest thing is everything that we said on here works. The key is you have to focus in and choose a path and go really deep in it. So Shola was a great example. He chose the online side, started to kind of dig in there, but there's a few elements, right? There's a few elements we're going a little bit deeper. Getting the course is one step, but then going through the modules in the course or what's going to make it really happen. On DealMachine, getting the software is the first step, but then going through the training and then going out there and driving and getting houses on there is the real step that's going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the big thing, man, is we're going through things that all work, but we have to take the steps. And it's a pretty clear laid out steps for DealMachine, right? 300 houses in most markets, really competitive markets, might be a little bit more. With Carrot, We say if it's PPC or SEO, it's about 15 leads turns into a deal. But then you've got to go get those leads, right? Build up the SEO over the long term, or do paid marketing using the budget that we laid out to do that. So the first step is getting the software. Second step is dedicating time to go implement the software. And I love what you guys are doing, man. We definitely are looking up to you guys on the product side, as we've talked about, because you guys are just putting out so much amazing stuff. And it's cool that our stuff works together so well.
Thanks so much.
Yes, Renee says, do you do investors and agents? I'm assuming that's for Carrot. We do. We have agent sites with IDX, and we have investor sites, and we have what we call hybrids too. Yep.
Awesome. Well, where could people go for additional questions if they didn't get their question answered tonight? I want to leave people with a place to go.
Yeah, awesome question, man. So there's a good number of people on here still, but what I would commit to is, I mean, the best way to go for questions is go through that link that they're sending up. Go through the link, because the link is going to go to our sales page, where then you can go take the demo, and the demo is going to probably answer a lot of the questions. I would start there. Just go right through that page, click the button that says take the demo. It's going to take you to a page where you just put in your email, let us know your experience level so we can give you the right demo. We kind of tailor the demo for your experience level, or if you're brand new, if you're pro. Watch the demo and then look at some of the content on there. If all of your questions aren't answered, then what you can do is there's a little live chat box down there. Hit that up tomorrow, between 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock Pacific time, and hop on with a sales team member. Or worst case scenario, I'm not going to guarantee I can answer it back anytime the next week because I'm going on vacation, but you can hit my email at trevor@carrot.com, and I'll get back to it. It just might not be for a couple of weeks. My sales team is probably the best route.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Trevor, for dedicating a full 2 hours with our Deal Machine community here.
Of course, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. It went by fast for me. So you guys, you know where to go. We're here for you if you guys have any questions. Thank you so much, and happy deal finding. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, David. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, AJ. You guys have an amazing night, y'all. Guys, go implement. Go execute. Get it, Jacob. Get it, guys. Get it, Gail. Let's see you, Joel. We'll get you, man.